Well, I want to welcome everybody to the October Eye on Piscataway. But more importantly, it doesn't look like similar surroundings in the studio. So we took a road trip down the street, about a mile and a half down from the studio, and then we're at the Rutgers Athletic Performance Center here, and we're very fortunate enough to have the head coach of the Rutgers men's basketball team, Coach Steve Pikiell, to stop by, and we're in your digs, and you're in the midst of getting ready for the 24-25 season. And I want to thank you for coming to Eye on Piscataway. I know you only have a few short moments, so we're going to get right to the questions. With top recruiting class, how do you control the hype of this upcoming season? So all we've heard about was, the last 18 months is about recruiting. And I know you eat, sleep, and breathe recruiting, as many coaches around the country do, but this seems like the hype about the recruiting class that you were able to nab and that are now going to be starting in October of this year seems a long time. And having born and raised here in Piscataway, I've seen a lot of, and a Rutgers grad, seen a lot of hype come and go. But this one seems exceptional. So you want to talk about why it's exceptional?
Well, first of all, welcome back. This has become an annual thing for us. Love having you. Great job that you do here in the city, and it's nice to have you show off what we have.
A lot of residents, they drive by the university, don't necessarily come in, but at least they get to see a little bit of the inside.
100%. And this building's world class, and it's helped our basketball program tremendously. There is a lot of hype. That's why I'm dressed. I'm dressed for work today. We have practice coming up here, and you still have to do the work part of it. The hype doesn't help you win any basketball games. It doesn't help your players. Sometimes it distracts them. But, we got an exciting recruiting class. I think our players that returned are better and improved. And then we added an influx of talent and size and athleticism that we haven't had here, in Piscataway in a long time. And so I'm excited about that. But you got to manage. It's like anything. You got to manage expectations. We haven't won a game yet, and there's a lot of work, and there's a lot of teams out there that are trying to make it to the top of the ladder. And you got to go one step at a time, and we're working hard to do that now, and hoping our influx of new talent helps us get to where we haven't been.
Have you ever had, as your professional coaching, have you ever had an opportunity to actually start, with this amount of freshmen all in one fell swoop? And, it doesn't happen. Normally, when you recruit, you maybe have 2 or 3 freshmen. But in this case, you have a substantial amount of the roster is going to be freshmen.
College athletics is changing greatly, and the old model now is no longer the new model. The new model is every year you got to kind of figure out your team. There's free agency among student athletes. Kids are transferring at an unbelievable level. So every year you kind of got to figure out your team, whether it's freshmen or whether it's transfers or whether it's the returning group. But our freshman class in particular, these kids are real talented, and we're going to find a way to get them on the floor, and more importantly, they're going to find a way, to get themselves on the floor. And I look forward to those challenges of the new era. And I'm not the only coach in America that's going through these challenges, so hopefully we can figure them out a lot quicker than a lot of these other coaches.
Yeah, but some of the tips that you're learning, you're not going to devolve to your opposite coaches.
That's right.
How quickly can you build trust up and cohesiveness in the era of this turnover with the portal and everything? You may think you have a team set for the next year and a half, 2 years, and next thing you know, you're looking at totally rebuilding an entire team.
You know what? It's just like any profession. The challenges come, and you got to try to navigate and figure them out. I think we did a really good job of finding players that we're bringing into our program, again, from great families, that have a work ethic about them, that want to be here at Rutgers University, that want to work and play together alongside 2, of the most talented freshmen that we've ever had here in Ace Bailey and Dylan Harper. So we did a lot of homework beforehand. Now we're bringing those players together, and now we have to do the work, and they have to start trusting each other and trust the staff with the game plans that we have and the work that needs to go into making those game plans a reality. And and then you have to go up against an opponent that's trying to ruin your season. So there's a lot of challenges, a lot of obstacles. I love it though. I came here, there were a lot of challenges day one. I'm year 9 now. I'm blessed. Year 9 to represent Rutgers University, one of the finest universities in the country, and playing the best league basketball-wise, maybe sports-wise, in the country too, in the Big Ten. And we get to bring some of these name brands into Piscataway which is exciting.
And we're going to get to that in a minute. But when you're looking through the portal with players, like what type of attributes are you looking for in a player? Is it somebody that likes your kind of coaching, or is there a specific brand type of player you're looking for?
Well, really, last year, learned a lot of lessons from last season. First and foremost, physical attributes. So we wanted to bring in size. We wanted to bring in guys that were big and strong and athletic, and we were able to find that. But a toughness. We brought in a toughness in the portal that we haven't had here either. Every guy that has mentally and physically tough, and that was one of the attributes that we wanted to bring. And then we wanted kids. We brought in 2 New Jersey kids. Wanted kids that wanted to come back home and wanted to represent this great state, and we found those guys too. So we added a lot to our program, and we kind of did it specifically to fill those needs. Toughness, want kids that want to be here physically, tough and imposing, athletic. Those are some of the traits that we really look for.
And the Big Ten's been noted for years to be in a very physical league, where some conferences have a tendency to like to run the ball a lot. But is the team coming together? Do you see that gelling as a unit now, even though you really haven't fully started in earnest?
Yeah, I mean, you do see it off the court too, doing a lot of things. We only get 4 hours a week leading up to next week is actually the first week we can start 20 hours. So 4 hours.
And I just want to, out there for those folks who don't know a lot about NCAA basketball, that's the rules that are set up by the NCAA. They have certain times and guidelines when the coach can actually be a coach to them, and it has some limitations on your ability to coach.
A lot of limitations. So next week we get to 20 hours. That's going to help me a great deal. That's going to put us in the gym a lot more. That's going to put us in the film room a lot more. But our guys have gotten along great. We got 2 great captains, Jeremiah Williams and Zach Martini, a Princeton grad. That's a 5th-year senior for us from New Jersey. Those 2 guys have given us great leadership. They've been great leaders throughout the past. Now they're joining together forces to make this a great year for us.
So the type of defense that you like to over the years have promoted, how is that going to gel with 9 new players on the team?
It's got to gel quickly. We've been a top 10 defensive program, for my whole tenure pretty much here in Piscataway. We're going to continue to do that with more talent too, and more ability to block shots and more athleticism. So we got to bring that together quickly. I had a lot of experience in the past. That was kind of how college basketball was. Kids would stay 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. Now we got to supersize and our learning process and do it quickly, microwave it, and establish that defense in a hurry.
So the limited time that you've had with the players, who's been the biggest surprise at practices so far?
I mean, we've had a few. I mean, we have a returning group. Emmanuel Ogbol, who's 7 feet, about 280 pounds, a big guy that has improved a ton. He played a little bit last year. He was injured most of the year. Came back from a knee injury, and now he is 280 pounds of steel. Very excited about his development. Jermichael Davis, a guy who played a lot for us last year. His freshman year, I think, learned a lot, had a great summer, much improved, And Jeremiah Williams, who only played a few games for us last year, made a huge impact, had a great summer, has been healthy. Those 3 guys really jump off the page in their development. And then we added a bunch of new players, so I'm learning about them every day.
So with the exception of the 2 captains, who do you think is going to emerge as the leader, or is in the process of emerging as the leader?
Yeah, I mean, you get a lot of leadership from a lot of different directions. Dylan Harper, hopefully, even though he's a freshman, he's a point guard. He was injured, so he didn't have the summer that All of us would have liked to have him, but he's healthy now, and he's going to do a good job. But it always starts with your point guards. JaMychal Davis, Jeremiah, and Dylan Harper have to be really good leaders for us. And I think they will emerge as that moving forward.
So, you just mentioned a little bit about the injuries. Is there any other specifics that any other players that are recovering from injuries that's going to prevent them from going to full swing in the practices?
Knock on wood. Yeah. We're in a good place with that, and hopefully we stay that way. But Tyson Acuff is coming back to practice right now. He was a guy who broke his foot early in the summer, but he's been cleared now to no contact, but to be back on the court. He's headed in a great direction. Dylan Harper's been 100% healthy. Let's keep it that way.
So do you plan on, you've historically have rotated like 7 or 8, 9 players in. Do you plan to do that, or do you just
100%.
Try to gel a starting 5 and play them as much as you can to get the cohesiveness?
Yeah, I mean, you love that part of it too, but you need 8, 9, 10 players, always have to be ready. Last year we had huge injuries all the way. You really need to play 12 men in your roster too, so you got to be prepared. We play 31 games during the course of a season. It's hard, it's grueling, it's a lot of hours, a lot of injuries.
And that doesn't include the travel time that you have to make with some of the away games.
100%. So everyone's got to be ready.
How do you see this year's offensive pace of play compared to, say, the past years that you've had?
Yeah, totally different. I mean, we have, again, 9 new players. We're just bigger. We're bigger, we're stronger, we're faster at every position. I think we really did a good job of adding some outside shooting in the portal. P.J. Hayes, an elite shooter out of San Diego. Zach Martini, an elite shooter out of Princeton. Tyson Acuff, an elite shooter out of Detroit. Our freshman, Dylan Harper, really can score. Ace Bailey can score. Lathan Somerville, a big guy that can shoot it. Dylan Grant, another big guy out of Toronto that can shoot it. Bryce is a freshman that gets to the rim. So we've added some offensive pieces that we didn't have in the past. And again, we're just probably 4 or 5 inches bigger at every position. We were a very small basketball team last year, and now we're a very big basketball team.
So what impacted your decision to play in the Players Era Festival?
NIL.
NIL. That's a short answer.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big part of college athletics.
So do you see, let me delve on that for very briefly. Do you see that universities and coaches are now going to have to take a look at what tournaments, I mean, not the regular NCAA tournament, but the prior to the season, the beginning of the season, when you have these tournaments, that's going to dictate because of the NIL.
Yeah, I mean, in 2021, the Supreme Court passed the NIL bill, so that's changed college athletics, and it's awesome to take advantage of some of these opportunities.
My own personal opinion to that, I don't have an objection to that, but I really thought that the NCAA really blew this one. They should have really knew that this was coming. They should have regulated it to a certain extent instead of it becoming the Wild Wild West city now. The haves and have-nots. And it's put more pressure on the coaches, not just in basketball, and all the sports, for that matter.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a basketball coach just trying to guard pick and rolls and run practices, so that's way out of
And when you say pick and roll, you're trying to get picked by another coach with the NILs. So I thought that's kind of ironic. So.
But we have a terrific administration that's, figuring this stuff out. There's a lot of people, lawyers and what have you involved, so we're figuring it out, but that is the era that we're in, and it's exciting for our student athletes. It really is.
So can you sort of give us an update? I know you really can't talk a lot about the 2025 recruiting class, but is there some names that you're allowed to say out there, or the type of players that you're looking for?
Yeah, there's not any names that I can talk about, but
so in other words, you can't name drop.
I can't do
under
it.
NCAA rules. So the coach is not being cryptic here. It's just that he can't. So
I just can't. But I always want to get kids that want to represent this great university. I want toughness. I want great families. We've graduated every kid since I've been here. I'm proud of that. We want to get kids that want a great education, that want to play in the Big Ten, that want to play in sold out. We're going to sell out every game this year. So that want to play in front of sold out crowds in the most televised and fan watched league in the country.
Yeah. Well, we have a couple minutes left, but you just highlighted a comment that I want to delve on is that, with the university, with the academic tradition, like when you're going and making a pitch, I know the NIL issue is first and foremost on a lot of families. Are families still looking at the actual education component of that when you're going to
100%. I mean, it's like everything factors in, but 100%. Families want their sons and daughters to get educated and to get degrees from great universities, and it's just, NIL is just a small component that goes into kids deciding, but it gets the most attention right now. There are families that really are proud when their son walks across that stage and gets a degree from a great university. So it's very much still a part of what we try to sell and what we're trying to do here at Rutgers University.
So the last question is like if you're a young athlete that's looking hopefully to get a scholarship from Rutgers University, what pitch do you make to the parents? I know you're making a pitch to the athlete, but you're really pitching to the parents. Because they're gonna have a big say in it. Where
I mean, it's like anything. Like I'm a parent, You're a parent. What do you want for your own kids? It's the same thing. I want kids to come here and have a great college experience, not just on the basketball court. I want them to enjoy all aspects of college life. I want them at the football game this weekend, on Friday against Washington. I had a son that graduated from here. He had an unbelievable experience here. He was part of clubs. He was part of intramural sports. He was part of, all kinds of, sports management, opportunities. And now he's working for the NBA. So, everyone wants their son to be taken care of and to enjoy their 4 years. And they go by very quickly. So, I talk to parents a lot about that. I have 2 kids that have Rutgers degrees, and I'm proud of them for that, and I love the experience that they had while they were here, and I hope their kids can have the same experience.
Now, you just spoke very briefly about the student athletes, but your coaching staff, that's part of it. Now, you just had an addition to your coaching staff. Do you want to talk very briefly about your?
First, I've been blessed. My staff has stayed, intact, and in a world where they're always trying to steal your coaches too. In college athletics.
People don't really think about that, that there could be cherry picking of coaching staffs too.
100%. So that's very much a part of what I do. But, I have Brandon Knight back and TJ Thompson and Marlon Williamson, and now I added Jay Young, who was part of my staff prior and also part of my 11 years as we built a program at Stony Brook University, my previous stop. So we continue to add value. Our staff's great, loyal workers, and Steve Hain and Mike Larkin. These guys do a fantastic job, and we wouldn't be where we are without the work behind the scenes that those guys do.
Well, we're going to close out the show, but I'd be remiss by not asking a coach, what is your favorite cold sandwich and your favorite hot sandwich?
Oh boy, anything from Jersey Mike's, that's the first thing.
Oh boy, you're really on message, Coach.
They are unbelievable, and I really like a nice.
The marketing department would give you
club.
Kudos for that.
No doubt about it, but as you can see, I'm trying to watch what I eat now. So anything with a lot of lettuce and vegetables, I'm good with.
And the Cook College Agricultural School would be happy hearing that. So with that, I want to thank the Rutgers men's head basketball coach, Coach Steve Pikiell, and I wish him and both the coaching staff and the team best of luck in the 24-25 season. And we're strongly encouraging residents to come out and cheer on the Scarlet Knights this season, whether it's an away game or a home game. And listen, we got 4 new teams coming into the Big Ten. They're going to be coming into our house, so let's show them what Jersey's all about.
Thanks for
Congratulations, Coach.
I look forward to meeting with you every year, and thank you so much.
want to thank everybody for coming out for the Patriots Stadium for a family fun night from Piscataway. It's a beautiful night, and let's go Patriots.
Patriots 3, the New Hampshire Fisher-Cats nothing.
First of all, I would like to thank everyone for being here in support of a healthier Piscataway. We have our bike mechanics over here. If you have not seen them yet, please do so. They've been very helpful. Thank you for coming out. So this bike ride will be 8 miles long, give or take. We will have police escorts assisting us in blocking off some intersections and high volume roads, and most of all, keeping us safe. We also have bike marshals, which are in these vests, as you can see, and with reflective vests, who will be riding with us. For safety, they will keep us in lane and help any rider who needs assistance along the way. It's very important that we listen to our officers and our marshals. We will have one water station in Johnson Park at Grove 1, where we would take a 5-minute water break before we continue our ride. Our second water station will be right here at the end of the tour. Please give each other space while riding. This is not a race, it's just leisure. Okay, there's no winning prize at the end except your own for completing the ride. This ride is about having fun and keeping us active and healthy. It's also about our incredible community and sharing common interests. This will be the first of many rides we will be taking together, and I'm looking forward for those future rides.
3, 2, 1, here we go.
It was awesome. Beautiful day. Great turnout. These people are beautiful. Thank you, everyone, for coming out. I'm pretty sure we'll be assembling some bike committees coming soon, so that way I'll send that word out. If you want to join us, by all means, you're all welcome. So we'll keep in touch, and again, thank you so much. You still have the whole entire day to do another 30 miles if you want, or go home and eat whatever you want because you just burned like 300 calories. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Well, welcome back to Ion Piscataway. We're very fortunate enough to be down here at the Performing Athletic Center here at Rutgers University. We're fortunate enough to have the head basketball coach of the Rutgers women's team, Coquese Washington, and back Ion Piscataway. Thank you. It's another year, Coach.
Another year.
Another year.
We're back at it.
So we're going to delve right into the questions. I know today's the first day of practice, and you're busy. You got to whip everybody into shape for the season. Women's basketball in general has seen an huge explosion of interest over the last several years. What are the key factors of the growing popularity of women's basketball? Not just at the professional level, but also the collegiate level.
Oh, there's a lot of reasons, and it's one of those things that it's kind of like a perfect storm with all these things happening at the same time. I think you have the play has really gotten better. When you look at from the high school level to the collegiate level to the professional level, the level of play that the young women are exhibiting on a night-in-and-night basis, it's really exciting. I also think we're at a time in our country where women's sports in general and women's issues are at the forefront. When you look politically, when you look athletically, women's issues are at the forefront of things that are the undercurrent of the country right now. And so when you see you have players that are playing well in a time where women's issues are at the front, then you start to have more eyes on what we're doing. And then you have just phenomenal players who played well on the big stage. And you talk about Caitlin Clark, you talk about Asia Wilson, you talk
who,
about...
if I may interrupt, broke the all-time scoring record of both men and women's collegiate.
Yes. And they happen to be, fortunately for us, happen to be playing in our conference. You know, some of the best players in the country are in our conference. So I think all of those things come together, and when you have more eyes on what we're doing, then you start to see that kind of following and that kind of aha moment that, hey, this is a really exciting sport and we need to get on board.
And I think that's kind of helped out with the younger generation of young women and children in basketball camps. And you've probably seen it with your basketball camps. And that wasn't maybe like 20 or 30 years ago. Yeah,
and social media is a part of that. Like, it's kind of cool. It's cool to go on your social media account, and you can watch a 30-second clip or a 20-second clip or a short clip on some of your favorite people, and they're cool. And that's helping the younger generation really fall in love with women's basketball.
So we're going to get to that in a second, but last year you spoke a lot about developing a culture in your program. And can you give me a glimpse on how that process has been going for you?
Yeah, I think it's going really well. Our culture is one where we really are buying into what it means to be a Scarlet Knight and to have the mindset that we're here to impact certainly this program, but impact this campus, impact this community, and do it in a way that is honoring our core values. You know, we have 8 core values, and everything that we do has to stem out of those core values, and we're seeing that more and more each year, that embodying those core values and living them out so that we can impact this community is getting better and better year by year, day by day.
Coach, you have 2 freshmen joining the team this year. What can you tell us about Kiyomi McMiller and Sakara Perkins?
They are amazing. They bring so much energy. They're so impactful on the court, but they're really impactful in the locker room as well. They're fast. They play defense, and they're fun and funny, and we just enjoy having them. They bring a toughness, and they bring a competitiveness that it's great to have in your gym.
So when you're bringing the younger players like the freshmen in,
Yeah.
have you seen it maybe a challenge like the savvy social media now? How do you balance that need with the savvy social media with practice time? I mean, because are some players taking snapshots of themselves to post on, say, Instagram while they're practicing, or is it all business when?
Well, I think because they've lived with social media for so long, they already know how to balance it themselves. They police themselves. So they know when it's time to get in the gym and go to work, they know we don't have to really coach them on that. They put their phones down, they put their tablets down, and they're about business because they're competitive. They want to be out there and they want to play well. They want the team to do well. They want to represent their family. They want to represent themselves. They want to represent the university at a high level. So they're in the gym trying to get better. Now, after practice, now the phone is all bets are off. But there hasn't been much where we've had to corral them into, this is a business, because I think they've lived with it for so long that they have that already in its proper place.
So in other words, in a short, Coach Washington's not requiring zip bags for their sons.
No, not yet.
Like some school districts are. You spoke very briefly about two of the players, but what are some of the other players, your returning veterans? Where do you see them gelling as a unit for this year?
Well, I think, number one, we got two transfers in with experience, Janae Walker and JoJo Lacey. And I think their experience, their maturity, has definitely impacted our locker room in a positive way. They, especially when they come from a different school, they have a strong appreciation for what we're doing here and the opportunity that they have to be a Scarlet Knight, and that shows itself in the locker room and on the court.
Yeah. I don't envy head coaches now because, with the whole transfer portal and NILs, but more importantly, it's like you have a method of teaching on the court. Other coaches have different methods. How does that change if like somebody's 2 years in with a different coach and all of a sudden they're on the floor for you and you have to maybe get them out of the mentality of what they were taught where they were previously?
That's a real thing. That's a real thing. And the good thing is you hope to bring in players that are open to growing and doing things a different way. And we certainly found that with JoJo and with Janae, that they were open to, okay, I'm at a new place, it's going to be different. Then you also have to have the coaching staff that has the patience, right, for them to make that adjustment. And that's a beautiful thing that you have with the summer, is you have that time, you have that 6 weeks over the summer to not so much get ready for the season, but to take that time to adjust and get everybody, get all the I's dotted and the T's crossed with how we're going to do things. And that goes back to your question about culture. It's a culture thing. It's a how we move, how we connect, how we behave with one another. And when you start with that, then you can start to move forward with the basketball stuff.
So most of the time, you're the face of the women's basketball team, and you have the players. But do you want to speak a minute or two about your coaching staff? A lot of times you don't hear about the assistant coaches and the support staff that make up a team.
Yeah, our coaching staff is outstanding. I'm really happy with our coaches. Tasha Pointer, obviously a Rutgers Scarlet Knight legend who's done so many great things, and her presence in our locker room, the kids just eat it up. They eat up what she, how she communicates about what it means to be a Scarlet Knight. And then we've got John Hampton, Nneka Enampali, Janetta Hayes, and Janine Wazalewski, and they all mesh so well together in what their strengths are from a coaching standpoint, and what they bring to the gym every day. They're so passionate, they're so energetic, it's just, we have great chemistry and great synergy, and I think our players feed off of that.
So we've seen a lot of pictures out there of not just necessarily your team on the basketball court, but volunteering like in his case with the Rutgers soccer team at a farm picking
Yep.
out there. What was that like with the players going out there to pick on a farm?
You know what? They enjoyed it. They realized how much work it is. You know, they came back, they were like, oh my God, I'm so tired, I'm so sore. But it was a learning experience. And that's one of the things that's really important to me with the players in this program, is that we're not just in this basketball silo. You know, that we're at this university that has so many resources, so many opportunities to learn about your community, learn about other people's experience. And the more we can expose them to that, the better. And so they came back from that farm experience, having hung out with the soccer team as well, with eyes opened about something that they really had never experienced before.
Well, if I had known that they don't mind going out to farms and helping out, I would have gladly invited the team over to my property, because I have a very large garden that they could easily help
They
out
could have
there.
picked some weeds in your
Because I can't
garden.
get my kids or my wife to help pick. It's normally up to me. What makes Rutgers is such a special for the student athletes and the coaches, in your eyes?
For me, one of the things that I love about being at Rutgers is the diversity. The diversity in so many ways, especially of thought and experiences. A student that comes here, a student athlete that comes here, is going to be in an environment where they are going to experience other cultures. They're going to experience other ways of thinking, other ways of being, and that experience allows you to grow. And that is, to me, one of the most important things during your 4 years in college, is that you come in as a teenager, a kid, and 4 or 5 years later, you're an emerging adult with these varied experiences that help grow your mind and help grow your ability to connect well with others. So to me, that's one of the things that makes being at Rutgers a truly special place.
And you sort of just answered the next question. And if you're, as a coach, if you're making a pitch to the player and the family, whoever respective, is that the pitch you're going to make to that student athlete to come to Rutgers?
That's part of the pitch. The other part is play for a dynamic coaching staff, right? And win a lot of Big Ten championships and then compete for championships on the best stage in the country. You know, Big Ten athletics is the biggest stage in the country. And so you get a chance to come here and compete and do what you love on the biggest stage.
So this year you're going to be running out to the West Coast, I believe, because of the addition of the 4 new teams into the Big Ten. How does that change in the dynamics for adding additional travel time?
Yeah, it does. You have to be mindful of the travel when you make the schedule. But again, fortunately, you know, we're at a university that understands that. And so the travel, it's, you know, it's a week going out west. We play at Washington and we play at Oregon. So we'll play at Washington on a Thursday and then we play Oregon on a Sunday. So we'll be gone a whole week. We have the great support. So academically, they'll be fine. They'll do what they need to do remotely for a week. But it is what it is.
As a Rutgers alum and somebody who's born and raised here in Piscataway, I never thought the day that we would be playing UCLA, USC, Washington, Oregon in the car. If somebody would ask me 15 years ago, I would have said, what are you, crazy?
Right. Yeah. But it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. And this is the direction of college athletics. And being at Rutgers, Rutgers is a university that embraces the change and really is trying to be a leader in this space. And so we're excited about the challenge of going out to the West Coast.
Well, it's kind of funny because I do know a lot of the West Coast mayors out there. So we sort of like have a Big Ten Mayors Association. And so now we're swapping stories within the last week with a lot of the mayors about, hey, what's your take on this all happening? So
so when we go out to Washington, who's the mayor out there? And
well, you have the mayor of Seattle, but they all claim it since out there. So, but you got the mayor of Los Angeles, Karen Bass, Los Angeles, right there, and she has both USC and UCLA, right there. So,
all right.
Now have you adjusted to life here in Central New Jersey since you moved?
I am getting more and more adjusted. I don't have to use my GPS as much.
Okay.
So I'm getting adjusted, and my family is adjusting, and they're here now. So it's good. I love it.
We have just 2 more questions.
Okay.
What can the fans expect at Jersey Mike's Arena this year?
Oh, we're going to play fast. We're going to play fast. We're going to be exciting. I really like the additions that we've added to our team. The returning players have gotten better. and they've really embraced the up-tempo style of play that we want to play. So I feel like every year we're getting a little bit better at playing the pace and the tempo and the exciting style of play. And so with our newcomers and the growth of our returners, that's what the fans can expect, a fun brand of basketball.
Okay. So when you're not burning calories off coaching a team, what is your favorite sandwich?
My favorite sandwich, I honestly have to say, it's a Jersey Mike's sandwich.
Boy, talk about branding.
That my son worked there this past summer, so I would go to see him, and I get the minis.
Okay.
I get a mini tuna salad sandwich with nothing on it except for pickles.
Okay. Nothing wrong. You're watching your carbs and the rest. So. Well, I want to thank the head women's basketball coach at Rutgers University, Coquese, Washington, for stopping Ion Piscataway. And we wish the best of luck on behalf of the Piscataway residents to the 24-25 season with the team. And I know they're going to make us proud here.
Thank you so much.
So thank you very much, Coach.
Appreciate the time.
Okay, good.
Welcome to National Night Out. Welcome, Piscataway! Welcome to the 2024 National Night Out with our Piscataway Police Department, the men and women of the department, as well as a lot of our first responders, and also a lot of the folks that are tied in with the boards and commissions here. I want to say how lucky everybody on this street is, everybody on this platform, and everybody living in this town. And you know why? Piscataway's a fabulous place to live. Don't you agree? This is a great town. We have a lot to be thankful for. And one of the jewels in our crown in Piscataway, and I think you'll agree, is the Piscataway Police Department. What do you think?
I bring you greetings to the Middlesex County Sheriff's Office. National Night Out, community service, and you have the best in Piscataway Township law enforcement who works hand in hand with the Middlesex County Sheriff's Office, and I am happy to be here.
Hi everybody, thank you so much for coming out tonight. Unfortunately, the weather didn't want to cooperate with us in August, so with the busy schedule, this is a better weather, but we know we have busy schedules with school and sports, so thank you everyone for coming out. We truly appreciate it. Make sure you come and meet all the officers standing by, and they'll be more than happy to have a conversation with you and engage and hear your concerns. So thank you for coming, and we have to have a great night tonight.
I'm glad we had an opportunity to connect with our police department. They are our friends. They're here to protect us and serve. So I just want to thank you, and it's great to see everyone.
Thank you, Piscataway, for coming out tonight. I hope that you have a great night tonight. Shake the hands of the officers who are here. Thank them for putting this on for us tonight, and enjoy yourselves. It's a great night to live, work, play, go to school here in Piscataway. Enjoy.
Oh, Piscataway's National Night Out, best in the state.
We travel all around, and one of our favorite places that we'll always come back to is Piscataway. Just the best people, best food, and a good time whenever you come here. Thank you, Piscataway.
Well, it's also October, and October nationally happens to be a fire prevention month throughout our United States. And here locally, we're fortunate enough to have Matt Jandernal, who's our one of our local fire inspectors here in the town, and he's going to give us a brief overview to the residents on maybe what you shouldn't be doing and maybe what you should be doing when it comes to fire prevention. Okay, Matt, take it away. You got about 7 or 8 minutes here.
So, I mean, one of the biggest issues that we always run into in town is fire pits. Everyone likes to enjoy a fire pit in their backyard. One thing that you really want to make sure that you're not doing is having that fire pit on a deck that is made of wood. You want to make sure that you're burning dry seasoned firewood and have a lid on top of that chimney so it remains controlled. When you're done with it at the end of the night, make sure that you have some water, either garden hose or pot. Dump water on it. Make sure that it is fully extinguished before you go to bed or you leave the house. State actually requires that it is 15 feet from your structure.
Now, how does that work? Because and a lot of people say, well, I have it 15 feet, but it's on a deck, where the deck is all encompassing. You may be 15 feet away from the house, but you're on a wooden deck.
So yeah, within the fire code, it states that it's 15 feet from any combustible structure,
which is the deck.
Which is the deck. So that includes So basically, it's 15 feet from your any deck or your house if you don't have a deck.
And I think for the general lay person out there, the reason why that code's in place is because they don't want people to go to sleep at night and leave the stuff running, that it'll naturally burn out because you never know if the wind's going to come and kick any embers. Or in a case that happened in a recent fire, that they had a small liquid type chimney where it must have knocked over and started the fire there unbeknown when the people went to bed.
Yeah, no, that is the main thing is that we want you to enjoy, be able to sit out and enjoy your backyard, but you also want to be safe. And that's, is you want to make sure that, the embers aren't being blown around by the wind because they could land on something that's on your deck and ignite. And if you're
your neighbor's property.
Yes, your neighbor's property, the brush behind your house. Yeah. That's always, when you are done with your night, you always want to make sure that the lid is on and the fire is completely extinguished and soaked down. Never put the ashes in a garbage can or, a garbage bag next to your house. Leave them sit overnight. Make sure that they are, soaked well, and then you could dispose of anything that you want.
So you just talked very briefly about the chimneys issues around town. Fireplaces, like for instance, I have a Vermont casting stove, so when I take the ashes out, even though, like say overnight there's nothing there, I always dump them in a metal container that is fireproof, and I wait to dispose of them a couple days later. When it's right there, that's in theory what you should do.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, yes, fireplaces are exactly the same. You said you want to remove those ashes, put them in a metal container. Do not put them in plastic or anything like that.
I mean, a lot of these stores, like a Lowe's or Home Depot or a home improvement store, sell the specialized fire-rated containers for fire
absolutely,
ashes.
Yeah, they're very easy to get, and they're sold in most stores. But that's what you want to do. You want to take anything ash-wise, take it out, put it in that bucket. Again, let it sit. Wet it down and let it sit for at least 24 hours to make sure that it's cooled off and there's going to be no issues before you dispose of it.
Yeah. Now, how often should somebody get their fireplace maybe cleaned?
We recommend that it's done at least once a year, depending on how often you use it. Yeah. If you're somebody that likes to use it a lot, you might want to do it twice a year. But usually if it's someone where your personal house, we recommend at least once a year to have someone come in and clean it.
And there should be an inspection of the flue pipe and everything else.
Yeah, so usually the company that come in and cleaning it, they'll perform an inspection as well to make sure that there's no cracks or anything within the chimney that could let heat or same thing, an ember get out and into your attic space or something.
Fireworks. I know it's not 4th of July, but we've had some issues in the past where some properties got on fire because of fireworks. What's the do's and don'ts of fireworks?
So with fireworks becoming legal in the state of New Jersey, there are still what they say legal fireworks and illegal fireworks. So within the state of New Jersey, anything that leaves the ground is what they say. So anything that says projectile or projecting or this or that, those are still illegal in the state of New Jersey. So when you are having the fireworks, you don't want to do it near same thing. You don't want to do it near any structure, any kind of combustible area, so decks. You really want to try to find a wide open area where there's going to be nothing near you. Enjoy it, have fun, but also when you're done, same thing. Don't touch them, don't pick them up. Make sure that they are wet down. One thing we recommend is getting a bucket, submerging, filling the bucket with water and submerging the fireworks, same thing, kind of overnight. Let them sit there, soak. The next day, once they are wet and completely cooled down, then you can dispose of them in the trash or something.
Well, the easiest way for fireworks is just come to Piscataway Township. We have a very large fireworks display.
We put on a very beautiful 4th of July fireworks display. So that's we always recommend. Go to a public display. They're safer, and it's safer. You have more fun. There's a lot to do at the 4th of July event.
Well, I think the impetus is we had an issue about a year plus ago where some folks were shooting fireworks off behind some condo complex, and evidently some of the brush near the condo got caught fire, and the next thing you know, we have 20 people that weren't able to go back into the units because of the damage.
And unfortunately, that it does happen more often than not. Unfortunately, with the use of fireworks, is people, they set them off and they don't dispose of them properly, or they don't notice what's around them. So unfortunately, sometimes people just light them off. They put them off to the side, and fireworks are still hot for a very long time after they're lit off. So they can cause a fire hours after you've used them.
Well, we're going to remind the residents that when we get towards May about that. Kitchen safety when it has to do with fire prevention.
So with cooking with grease, one big thing with grease fires is always make sure you have a lid, on the pot when you're cooking. Don't walk away from the stove if you are, cooking with grease. But one major thing is always, if you happen to have a grease fire on your stove, don't put water on it. You don't want to try to put, you don't want to dump water on it. You don't want to try to pick up the pot and move it. Have some baking soda or a fire extinguisher nearby, and that's what
there's a lot of companies that make those small kitchen fire extinguishers.
So basically, most houses actually in the state law is required when you sell a house, you have to have what they call a 2A 10BC extinguisher, and that's for kitchen use, and that's powder based. So you have that, or if there is a fire, take the lid and put the lid on it, and it'll smother the fire out. But you don't want to throw a rag on it. You don't want to put the water on it. You don't want to try to move it, because that's how you could get hurt, and could possibly spread the fire. So I said if that, God forbid, happens, that's what you want to.
All right. Well, Matt, I know we didn't delve into fire safety too much, but we want to thank our local volunteer firefighters here in the month of October, and we're encouraging all the residents to go out to your local firehouses. A lot of them we're going to be having open houses on fire safety. Right there. So we encourage more depth to visit your local firehouses for the month of October. And stay tuned. We'll be publishing on the municipal Facebook and email accounts. So thank you for stopping by, Matt. And just fire safety's 100% great for Piscataway Township. We like to have homes safe. So
absolutely. With
that, thank you for stopping by. I'm Piscataway, Matt.
Thank you, sir.
I want to thank the head coaches of Rutgers men and women's basketball team for stopping by Ion Piscataway, and also our local fire inspector. And I hope you enjoyed some of the clips from the Piscataway Bicycle Tour, National Night Out, and a lot of the other events. I would like to remind residents that there is going to be a couple upcoming events. The Fireman's 5K race, to keep an eye on that on our township website. But more importantly, don't forget, if you want to vote in the November election, you need to register to vote. if you aren't already registered. The deadline's the middle of the month of October, which is coming up shortly. So with that, we'll see you in the month of November, and don't forget to vote in November.
Y'all gonna make Detective Calvin cry out here. You're doing such a good job.